Thank you very much for having me at FOSS4G. Every time I go to this event is a humbling and very exciting experience. And we see very talented people speaking about ground laying work, things with 1 million users on the Google Store, like QField, and people talking about this stuff like it's nothing, like it's very easy to do. So it's very humbling. I would like to bring you some information about the work I've been doing. I've spoken about this in FOSS4G before, right at the beginnings in 2012. I believe it was Portland. Yes. And the plan is, we're going to do a quick live demo. We're going to show a few slides explaining the story and the context of the work. And then we'll go back to the demo and take some time there until the time runs out. We have a system in the Brazilian Federal Police called Inteligeo. It has its roots back in 2009, and it went into production in 2010. And it is deployed in the Brazilian Federal Police today, and in fifth one in progress in 4 other institutions. But it's just recently been made. It has just recently been possible to do this because it was very tightly integrated with the Brazilian Federal Police structure, so it wouldn't make much sense to use it anywhere else. So we started in 2009 with a full ESRI stack. In 2011, we changed to a fully open database without using ArcSTE. In 2017, with version 4, we finally transitioned to a fully open source stack. So at this point, we stopped paying for licenses, we stopped needing anything else. Up until then, we have run the 2 versions in parallel, and we didn't want to leave the user with any functionality that the users were accustomed to. So everything the user wanted, we made it available. At this point, it was made fully obsolete. In 2022, we did another large step. We took GeoNode and the project we already had and rewrote our project on top of GeoNode. So we put a lot of functionality on top of GeoNode, and that's what we're going to talk about it today. 2023, other agencies started using GeoNode. 2024 was a really big development milestone in which we developed a more easily configurable version of our system so that other institutions would be able to use it more easily. So we are at this point in time. Why? Why would we do this? Before answering, why would we change GeoNode? Why wouldn't we just use GeoNode as it is? I would like to show a quick demo of our system in production. It's still rough around the edges, but it's functional. Well, just to give you a quick peek, this is GeoNode, the stable demo from GeoNode. This is GeoNode 4.4. We haven't updated to GeoNode 4.4 yet. Ours is still 4.3. But this is what GeoNode looks like. And if you click on one of these, let's try to get a map here. So this is what we get. The interface is like this. So these buttons show here. You can see the layers here. And these are the tools you have available on GeoNode. This you can access online. This is from one of the agencies that's using Inteligeo. What I'm going to show you today is an internal system. It's operating its production for more than a year. Like I said, it's still rough around the edges, but this is in production in the Brazilian Federal Police. So this is my user. So some of the stuff you see here is not visible to everybody. And we have our working layers in here. So just to give you a quick peek, if I get into a map, for example, let's get into let's pick the maps. Let's get into here again. Okay, so you see that we have a lot more buttons here. And we have an open filter, and we have layers that are integrated with the other systems that Inteligeo 4 was already able to see. For those of you Brazilian from public agencies know what this layer is. This is deforestation alerts from Brasil Mais. So everything you see here, it's results of our monitoring with planet scope imagery. For example, this alert here, you have the metadata. This is from September 2023. I could do a different filter here and show different alerts. So you have before and after, and a class which is clear cut here. So there is a fire scar, cicatriz de queimada. You see before and after. And we hire this service from a provider. And we get this for half of the area of Brazil, roughly. Not every day. Every day we get from a smaller area, mostly special areas that we monitor daily. But this is what we arrived at. So we have a lot of stuff. If we have time at the second live part of the live demo, I'll show you some stuff we have here. So we got a lot of new stuff. If we stayed with Inteligeo as it was, we would have to implement everything that GeoNode already has, and we would it would be very expensive for us to deal with it. But if we just got GeoNode, we would drop all the stuff we had that we really needed. That's why we had it on our previous system. So we need to get new stuff. We'll get to that in the next slide. And we get a great jump start. We go really, really far from the get-go. Because GeoNode is a large project. It has a large community. We can start way ahead if we wanted to start from zero. And we wanted to customize support for specific workflows in the Brazilian government. For example, the loading of those alerts you saw, those are very important. That's a big project of ours. So if I wanted to task satellite imagery from GeoNode, that's not a GeoNode feature. I can't expect the GeoNode upstream to implement this. This is not for everybody. You have to have a satellite tasking contract for that. So we wanted to support this. And we want to deploy on different environments, I mean the same solution. So GeoNode provides the tool. The deployment that GeoNode comes with is a sample deployment for using with Docker Compose. It's not what you need for enterprise deployment. It's just an example. How would you do this? So we developed this. And we wanted to integrate with everything. So that demanded, for example, a whole new API. I hope we can get to that. Because then we have GeoNode and we have supporting structures. One of them is a whole separate API just to talk with database, remote database systems, contract providers, because we don't want to change GeoNode itself. We want to change GeoNode itself as little as possible, so that we don't have to carry all this code with us. Also, we had to comply with standards, because the visual identity of GeoNode is not compatible with the visual identity required by Brazilian standards for public institutions. What did we get? I just heard from Marco that we can't use GeoPDF because it's trademark. So it's a geospatial PDF. GeoNode prints a regular PDF. With Inteligeo, you click on the same button and you get a georeferenced PDF instead. That's very important for us, for the field people. Like lame things, really simple things that aren't actually an issue. It may not even be a bug, but for us it was a major user experience issue. If you clicked on some place, for example, on a map, and you wanted to do something to a layer, and then you came back to a map, you reset the view. And you would usually reset the view to the entirety of Brazil, not to the small town, the small deforestation area in the middle of the woods that you were saying. So we fixed that. Now our GeoNode, Inteligeo, stores a cookie in the browser, so it would come back to that same place. So it's really simple, technically not challenging stuff, but has a big impact on user experience. We have a new bug report system. I hope to be able to show it to you. If you get into the system, you see an icon on the top. It's not present in GeoNode. You can click on it. It will screenshot your screen, will pop up a form so that you can fill whatever is wrong. In that way, you can report to the developers if something is wrong with either the application or the data. So you can report it on the interface, really easy. And we can customize look and feel. We can integrate our local catalog. We had about 170 terabytes of raster images sitting in our storage. It's your fault, Tachi-san. JICA provided us with a lot of imagery from the ALO satellite, and we have a lot of legacy stuff in there. And we managed to integrate this on the front end, so people don't have to download it and open in the desktop GIS unless they want to. So they can open to the web.js. I hope to also have time to show it to you here. So we connected everything, like all our contracts with Planet, with Maxar, everything is connected here. We have the high resolution catalog directly on the front end of the maps. So it's really, really straightforward. Also, we can deploy with a single configuration file. Whoever here tried to deploy GeoNode at least once knows that there's a lot of places where you have to set configuration. We set one file. So it propagates the configuration to all the relevant places on the system, and there you go. And what did we bring from the old Inteligeo 4? We had a lot of data connections already built in. We just make small adaptations. We had some really simple stuff, like the remembering the last place where we were before. There's a lot of simple stuff that we had. For example, you can click on the link and you can go to Google Maps, for example, on the same place you were seeing before. And we don't have to pay anything because we're providing the user with a link. We're not bringing the content of the platform inside the system. So it's really helpful. And this is the first time I'm going to show it to you. It's really simple, makes a big difference for our users. Data connection, satellite imagery tasking was already a feature of Inteligeo 4. We brought it to Inteligeo 5. So this is where we are today. One of the objectives of bringing this talk here is to talk about actually contributing back. Because we got GeoNode in our infrastructure, but all the improvements we've made, the community doesn't see these improvements in the mainstream project. So we're talking about this journey here. It's going to come at some point. So we developed a different deployment than Docker Compose. We integrated different types of authentication. We ported over previous functionality. We got it into production. We added some more stuff, new stuff on top of GeoNode and Inteligeo 4, so it has stuff that wasn't before, we didn't have before. We have a lot of rough edges, a very difficult user experience in some places. Then the next step is we need to get the institutions that are partners, that are already deploying Inteligeo in their systems, to do extensive testing. Then we plan to submit pull requests for bug fixes first. Will go to upstream. So we have like 10 outstanding bug fixes that we implemented, and we have to do viable pull requests for them all, so that will make it easier for the upstream developments. Then we will go about picking those features that are not actually bug fixes, but they are improvements on GeoNode, and untangle them from the code, like make it a separate pull request, so that it can be either accepted or refused to the upstream developers and be available to everyone. Because if you just open source the entirety of Inteligeo, that's not very helpful, because they're not going to go to Australia and run a service with Brazilian government logo on it. Doesn't make much sense. So we would untangle everything that's useful for the community in general. But we would like to open source the main application, but that's a whole other issue, because the Brazilian government would find use for it as open source in Brazil. So it will be open source for everybody, sure, but I think mostly would be a local issue. Then we come to the lessons learned here. Those are the 2 slides with the main conclusions that we arrived at. The main challenge we had with bringing GeoNode in was non-standard deployment. We had a standardized way to deploy stuff in the Brazilian Federal Police. This comes about in a whole different way. So we had to make adapters and make deployment code and fix this for us. So that's the most challenging part in the start. Then we had to train people, document everything. And the good thing is, if you have issues with user experience, a good part of them can be mitigated. You can decrease the pain of the user by training. So it's not a final solution, but you can do it really quickly. And you can identify key people in the country that can serve as multipliers of this knowledge. And the thing we also found challenging was syncing with upstream. So when GeoNode goes from 3 to 4, from 4.2 to 4.3 to 4.3 to 4.4 every time, I don't know, I may invest maybe 2 months of developer time just to do the point version upgrade. But that is paramount, because we made a risk assessment before we started this, and the main cause for projects to not go forward with using GeoNode in Brazilian government was lagging behind the upstream. So people just give up. So I don't have the resources to keep up with this. So they needed all the customizations, but they weren't able to carry it forward. So we're really committed to that. So we manage, for example, for GeoNode, for MapStore, we manage a huge code base with extra stuff that we don't really need, but we have to manage it, because for MapStore, for the main GeoNode project, the main GeoNode, you have GeoNode project. You can customize upon that. But for the UI elements, you need MapStore. You need to customize the MapStore repository. That's a full repository. That's no MapStore project. So you have to manage everything here. And the final thing is, if there is somebody that can, for example, GeoSolutions from Italy, which is mainly runs GeoNode, it's super difficult for us to hire directly from these developers that are the project maintainers, because they're outside Brazil. They can't participate in the procurement process in Brazil. So for us, it's super difficult to hire them. So we would like to ask you, if you're a service provider, or a service provider with a project maintainer as an employee, and you would like to participate and trying to work with us, commercially work with us, please get representation in Brazil. If possible, 3 representatives in Brazil, so that we can run a regular procurement process. We don't have to run an international procurement process. So this is the final lessons we're arriving at. This is aspiration. We haven't been able to do it right until so far, but we are trying. So we sought sponsorship. We didn't go about this alone. We have a clear strategy for upstream thinking. Like I said, we're committed to it. And keep it simple. Don't do anything you don't have to on the upstream. If you need something, if you actually need something, question yourself, do you need to change GeoNode for that? Or could you implement it in some other way that's independent, that won't be made obsolete once GeoNode updates? So standalone components, and this is what we have been mostly lacking due to lack of manpower from our part. We have to engage upstream development. So we have to communicate, report the bugs, push up the bug fixes. That's in a step further. These are our sponsors. So JICA has sponsored us from the very beginning. These are the big players from Brazil, the Ministry of Justice and Public Security, and Ministry of MGI, Ministério da Gestão, Inovação e Serviços Públicos. We have the Federal Police investing in it for a long time, and FINEP did a great job at the beginning. They were instrumental in getting Inteligeo 4 stable enough so that we could stop maintaining it and focus on Inteligeo 5. Inteligeo 4 is still running because they provided resources for us to stabilize it enough so that we could just leave it be. The UN provided the servers at the very beginning, and the associations, the Forensic Experts Association, the National School of Forensics, they provided me with the means to come to this event. So they were, I would like to give them a great thanks. So these are the sponsors. So contribute back. These are selfish and selfless reasons to contribute back. I was going to go about each one, but I'm just going to leave them for you here a little bit so that you can try to understand if each reason is either selfless or selfish. I challenge you to get a clear answer. Because everything you do, you benefit yourself and you benefit the community. There's no good reason not to contribute. So if you go about customizing all of these projects, sort it out, see if you can do something in return. Send it to the projects. So you can at least share maintenance costs with the community. Might sound like a selfish, right? But if you don't do it, You're not sharing. They're doing it by themselves. If you send it upstream, then you are part of it now. So they get you. So they also gain from it. So let's try to, until time runs out, I'm going to try to do another round of demonstration here. How are we on time? 9 minutes? So I'm going to go about this for 4 minutes. Then I'll open for questions, and depending on the question, we can go about the demo a little bit more to answer the question, okay? So, let me try to refresh this page, because the bug report button is not showing, and I can't report the bug on the bug report button not showing. I just found a bug. It was working just now. The bug report button is not showing. Okay. So let's go to a regular map. Let's select the maps in here. So let's get the maps, explore maps. Oh, we have standardized maps. I have those whole bunch of maps here because this is my account. So on the federal police, police officer can get in here, upload his own data, share it with this team, and only they can see this data. So it's really important for us. In Inteligeo 4, the developer had to load it onto the database. It was really not workable. These are the Brazil Mais alerts. So we monitor more than half of Brazil for changes. It's not an exhaustive monitoring, so you can't use this for statistics, and we don't publish the methodology, so it can't be like a comparable thing with other measurements. But well, okay. So if I click on one of these, I get this is all GeoNode. Okay, it's slightly customized for us, but this is all GeoNode. So the data is from Inteligeo. We get the before and after, and we get the date here. This is from September 2023. I can perform a filter here. So if I want a really recent stuff, let's say, okay, so it's 2024, June, July, August 2024. Oh, let's go like this. So everything here. Let's say it's November. So everything we see here is in the last month. Let's see. So there's fires here. So you can just go in here and you can load all the other layers from the federal police. You can load the forensic reports. You can load the data from IBAMA, data from all the other institutions. Just go in here and you say you want to add a new layer. Where is it? Not add a group. I want to add a new layer. So I add any layer I want. So this is fires from NASA. This is updated every day. So I can add from ICMBIO the fines, the land that they have interdicted. 5 minutes, thank you. So you have limits for the forensics, for example. This is federal police forensics. So if I click on here and I go to the map, and there's an issue here, and I need somebody to do a forensic report here. What do? I check this layer. Have just clicked on it. I'll select it. Oh, that's just this one. And I know which forensic unit is responsible for that. So in the middle of the jungle, you get the line where it says whoever is responsible for this area, you get it here. So let's go to the tools, because we're really running close now. So if I want to task a satellite, I click on here. It pre-filled my name. I set a specific phone number for this request, because it might be the phone number from an operation or coordinating officer, not the actual person that got it. And I set the date, for example, start date, from tomorrow to like a month from now. And I choose a range. For example, if I say, oh, I need a really high resolution imagery. I need 30 centimeters, and I want it for planning and operation. And I don't want anything fancy, no clicking here. Then I select the area. I then specify what I'm going to do with it, because somebody's going to take a look at it. It's either going to authorize or deny this. So if I want to see per people, small engines like generators, so I set this here. then I can. I'm not gonna do this. It's very expensive, so I'm not gonna click here. And then there will be a task request, and the team will get in touch with this imagery. So we haven't implemented delivering the image here yet, but I'm gonna show you something really nice. The imagery on the back here is Maxar's base map, so I can turn it off. And I can add the last month mosaic from Maxar, from Planet. So I can get October and November, and I can go over here to the layers, and can shut it on or off, and also can use this tool here. So this is from Inteligeo. GeoNode doesn't have this, so it's integration with the other system. Let's shut this off. Let's try something else. So I wanna query the catalog. I could query the Planet catalog to get daily imagery from this location, but I'm gonna query Maxar. So I'm gonna select the area. If you wanna stick around a little bit more, I'm here.